Hey, yoga mamas. I am here in the guest room of my house. I'm just going to show you it's possible to do yoga in a very small spot. There's the bed and the TV. This is the quiet room in my house right now, so that's why I'm here. But I just wanted to drop in and let you know about a fundraiser that I'm participating in. I mentioned in the last video, and it's for Alzheimer's Association. And it's called The Longest Day, and it's an event right around the summer solstice, which is the longest day of daylight. And it's a time to really get some awareness about Alzheimer's disease and raise funds for the Alzheimer's Association. And they support a lot of research about Alzheimer's and other types of dementia, and also provide resources for caregivers and people living with different types of dementia. So this little sequence I'm showing is a little prep for the yoga classes I'm offering on my longest day event. And I thought it would be nice to just show a few different poses in detail and show some different modifications and different variations you can do that suit your body, because there's more than one way to do different postures. So I'll do a few different poses. Today I'm going to talk about rounding and arching the spine, or you can think of it as open, like rounding and opening the spine. Anatomically, we call that flexion, and this is extension. You've seen this probably in what's also known as cat-cow, where you're on all fours and rounding and arching. So this is cat and this is cow. And this is a really classic movement, not even really a posture, although you could treat each extreme as a posture, but it's a nice way to warm up your spine. And notice that a lot of times people will do it and move from their center. So what they're doing in arching is dropping the center, and in rounding, they're pulling that center up. So that's one way to do it, is to move from your center. Another way to do it, which is the way I was trained initially when I trained to be a teacher, is starting from the base of your spine and traveling up. So just watch closely. And as I round, I would start with the hips and move up through the lower, the mid, and the upper back, and then move my head last. And then to arch, I would start again at the pelvis or the hips, and then drop my belly button down, mid back, upper, and then lift my head. So it's more like a wave. And neither one is right or wrong. It's just different ways of doing flexion and extension of the spine. So I like to show different ways to do this. Some people do not like to be on their wrists for long periods of time. So why don't we just start actually standing? So standing, I need to shake my wrist out after doing that, but kind of shake the shoulders and the legs and the arms and the head even. Maybe stand for one breath. I'm going to turn so you can see the movement. Stand for one full breath. And as you exhale, just feel how your feet are supported by the ground. Put a little bend in your knee. If you're a person who tends to lock their knees, especially put a bend. It doesn't have to be a huge one, a little one. And then just begin to follow the movement of your breath with the movement of your spine. As you inhale, arch. As you exhale, round. Back and forth, inhaling to arch or to extend the spine, exhaling to round or to flex the spine. If you want to move the arms, it might look something like this, where you inhale and open the arms and arch or extend. Exhale and round the spine and just let the arms relax forward. So let's try that a few times, keeping the knees slightly bent, keeping the toes relaxed as you feel your feet supported by the ground. Good. Maybe one more. Awesome. This can also be done seated at a chair. This is the TV stand. I'm going to pretend it's a chair. And move. One day I'll get more high tech with my camera. I do have a camcorder. I swear I'm going to use it. So seated, you can arch as you inhale and exhale as you round. So if you're not comfortable doing that standing, this is a great way to do it. And notice that my hands are sliding as I round and as I arch, and that way you can get the full range of motion in your spine. Cool. 2 ways to do the same motion in the spine, standing or seated. We already did on all fours. So one thing I'd like to say though is if you're on all fours and you really are like, I don't want to do the wrists, you can always put the elbows down. It feels a little different, but then you won't get that strain or pressure in your wrists. And you can still get that same movement. Awesome. It's a simple movement, should be fairly accessible to most people. One thing I want to point out as you do the posture, not even posture, the movement throughout your day, and it is a really nice thing to do, even if you just need a break from sitting down or whatever it is that you're doing. When you do it, know that and feel that the movement is in the hips too. So it's a spinal movement, but it starts in the hips. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Put my hands on my hips, and you could try the same thing. Is that when you arch, it really starts here with the hips kind of like you're kind of sticking your butt out. So you're kind of tilting, and you can feel the bony parts of your hips on the front. Those are going to tilt down and forward, and the spine will follow. And then as you round, again, starting the hips, and then you're kind of going to tuck, like a dog will tuck its tail between its legs. That's what you're doing. You're tucking your tailbone and then rounding. So try that, starting the movement in the hips. It can help to have the hands on the hips as you do that movement. You know, maybe it's easier to feel when you're in cat-cow and all fours. So see how that, even try it without moving your upper body. Keep it steady and just slightly tuck the pelvis and then kind of tilt it forward. You could tuck and tilt, maybe coordinating it with your breath. And just that little movement, isolating the movement in the hips a few times. And then when you're ready, you can just add the full motion. So as you begin to tilt, bring the spine into it and just see how it becomes a longer, more complete movement. So play with this. I encourage you to play with this. And the next post is going to be about forward bends. So the reason I did the spinal movement, this cat-cow first, is to show you like how to play with the full range of motion of your spine and standing and sitting and all fours. You can even do it laying down if you're in bridge pose, which we didn't do in this video, but we will in a future one. But it does prepare you for the next post will be about forward bend. So as I talked about the hips, when you're arching and rounding, movement starting in the hips, is in the next video when we do the forward bends, we're going to talk about that hip tilting forward so that you go into the forward bend and you can keep the spine as an integrated whole and really bring that opening into the back of the legs instead of just rounding forward and curving your spine. So see that difference there is some people try to touch their toes and their spine ends up rounded. Some people will tilt the hips and then they're hinging and they're really flexing the hip rather than the spine. Just a side note for the next video, but I hope you do this throughout your day, throughout your week. It's very simple, but it's meant to be simple. I want this yoga to be accessible to all. And again, so this is just a little mini preparation for the couple of classes I'll offer. It's going to be on June 24th. Which is a Saturday. Most likely the online one will be at Facebook Live at 9 a.m. Central. And the in-person one will, I think, be around 11 a.m. I'm going to keep it spontaneous. It's going to be in the park. I will announce it later next week. So please look in the description of this video for the link to my fundraiser page. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment here or go to the fundraiser page and reach out to me there. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you have an awesome day.